And we have been working really hard with you and your team to bring live theater back to the Morrison Center. A large part of that process has been the constant communication with the producers and show representatives for all of the upcoming touring shows. Look, I know that everyone has a lot of questions, so we've asked two colleagues who are in the middle of this whole process to record some thoughts for us to share with you. Up first is Sue Frost. She's the Tony Award-winning producer of Come From Away and Memphis the Musical. Sue will share some behind-the-scenes information on what it takes to produce a Broadway show.
Hi, I'm Sue Frost, and I'm the producer of the musical Come From Away. I'm here to tell you a little bit about the challenges we producers are facing as we look toward bringing our shows back to the road. The most important thing for us right now is, of course, health and safety of our company and of the audience. To talk a little bit about the challenges we have keeping our company safe, my show, Come From Away, is a relatively small show, which means we travel with about 60 people. And that means we have to think about their safety as we move from city to city, whether we're on an airplane or whether we're on a bus. We have to think about moving in and out of hotels. What are those hotels like? Do they have safety protocols? Are they cleaned regularly? We're working with the unions who are very concerned about their members and making sure that when they come back, they're in a safe environment. And then when we're at the theater, we're backstage together, we're in dressing rooms together, we're interacting with your local crews. Some of our orchestras are interacting with local musicians in a crowded orchestra pit. How do we protect everyone? So all of those things are things that we think about and we're working on and trying to develop a plan so that when we do come back, we can stay back and we can keep everybody performing. Remounting our show is going to present its own set of challenges, but nothing like the challenges that a brand new show is going to face, because not only do they have to put a show up from scratch and cast it and rehearse it and costume it and build the scenery, all of that has to happen in a safe environment, in an environment where people are protected and where we know that the end result is going to be realized in a timely fashion. It's a lot to think about, but think about all of these tours as their own worlds, and they travel around from place to place with truckloads of scenery and costumes and props, and all of the actors and stage managers and company managers and band and crew, and all of those little pieces that have to go back together again, and we have to know that the scenery's running smoothly, the costumes still fit, and the lights and the sound equipment are still working. One of the reasons it's going to take us a while to come back is we need to come back to full houses. The experience of sharing a Broadway show between the actor and the audience is unique and special. And socially distanced audiences are not going to create anywhere near the same feeling that a house full of people laughing, crying, clapping does. It is also not possible for us to make this work financially. We need to know that we can accommodate all of the subscribers in the week that we're in town. We need to know that we can meet our financial model and what it takes for us to travel from town to town, what it takes for us to present the show. That financial model requires full houses. But mostly it is that relationship between our actors, between our performers and you, and the energy that that you both feed off of creates that unique experience, which is a Broadway show. But we're going to get there. Don't you worry, we're going to get there.
Sue mentions that the show travels city to city. That means that the cast and crew travel by bus or plane, and the sets, the costumes, and props all travel in tractor trailers. So depending on the size of the show, a producer needs 30 to 40 weeks of 8 performances per week in order to just break even on the cost to mount and tour the show. Those weeks need to be contiguous, and the tour needs to move across the country in a manner that makes sense geographically. As you said earlier, Laura, routing a tour across the country is like a big jigsaw puzzle. And that process is typically done 18 to 24 months in advance. The entire industry has been working tirelessly to reroute the 40 Broadway shows that tour across the US and Canada in a typical year. Here to tell us a little bit more about how tours cross the country is Meredith Blair, president of the booking group.
Hi, my name is Meredith Blair. I'm the president of the booking group, and I represent the national tours of Hamilton, Dear Evan Hansen, Come From Away, Mean Girls, the Book of Mormon, To Kill a Mockingbird, and many others. And I'm here to talk to you about the process of booking a tour. So to start with the basics, in order to get a show from point A to point B, you have to determine the size of the show, which determines how quickly you can travel. One of our objectives is to open in a given city on a Tuesday and close on a Sunday. Needless to say, some markets are closer to each other than others. Shows travel anywhere from a 3 to a 4 truck show to 25 to 30 trucks. Those are the big blockbusters. Generally speaking, most touring shows travel in anywhere from 5 to 8 trucks. The challenges of routing a tour are the availability of the venues. So if I'm starting in Buffalo, the next logical thing would be to go to Rochester or to go to Cleveland, but the venue that I need to go to next may not be available because they've got another show then, or the symphony is in the venue then, or there's a graduation, or there's any number of things or other commitments that the venue may have that don't make it available. So one of the challenges now in the current climate in booking a contiguous tour is that we don't necessarily have any consistency in what states are open when. So if I'm trying to get a show across the country, I need to know that I can get from Ohio to Iowa and that the states in between are open for business. But that's one of the many challenges that we're all trying to face in many different walks of life, not just in the theater business. The process has changed a little bit for us. No, it's changed a great deal for us over the past several months, having to deal with the shutdowns across the nation. So we are actively trying to put the pieces of the puzzle back together multiple times as the landscape keeps changing and as the timing keeps changing and as we continue, unfortunately, to live in a world where we don't have all the answers yet. So we're dealing with that reality, and we're booking and we're rebooking, and we will continue to rebook until we can get these shows back on the road and back to your cities. That's the goal.
Thanks, Susie, Sue, and Meredith. Hopefully this has been helpful to understand all the challenges we face getting Broadway back in our communities. Well, I want to make sure Susie and I have a chance to answer as many of your questions as we can. So I have them right here. We gathered these over the weekend. And so I'm going to just dive in. We have 5 or 6 questions to answer. And certainly if you have more questions or things come up for you, please reach out to our box office staff by phone or email, and they're happy to answer any questions you have. Okay, so many of you asked about social distancing. Will you open at 25% capacity and reconfigure seating? That's a super good question. Thank you. I'll go ahead and answer that one, Susie. We've definitely looked at all the different scenarios that we could to reopen. And there might be one that might be possible with a smaller audience for local performances, something with the Boise Philharmonic or the Ballet Idaho or something along those lines where we can do some social distancing in the theater. But for Broadway, that just won't work. As you heard, it's really important to have a chance for all of our subscribers to get to see it, and social distancing isn't possible. Plus, for the actors on stage, they really want to get all of that energy from you and from a full house. Susie, would you add anything to that?
I think you covered it, Laura. I mean, the bottom line is that the nature of live theater just doesn't allow for social distancing, both on stage between the actors and in the audience. It is just not financially viable. And Broadway has always been a financially risky business. So every show really needs to have the opportunity to sell every available seat for the financial model to work. And a big part of the theater going experience is that interaction we all have with each other and with the actors on stage. And that energy just isn't the same when you're spread out.
I guess we'll just have to be patient. All right, here's the next question, Susie. If we don't feel comfortable returning this season, but we've been subscribers for a long time and don't want to lose our seats, will you allow us to hold on to locations?
This is a common question that we get, Laura, and we understand, and that's why we're doing everything with you and your team that we can to keep everyone as safe as possible. Our suggestion is to just be patient right now. Hold on to your seats and then make that determination based on the circumstances when we are able to reopen. And when we do reopen, if you're still uncomfortable, we'll be more than willing to work with you and help you manage your subscription. But I want to stress one thing, and I cannot tell you how important it is that you know that if we need to cancel any performance at any time for any reason, the value of your ticket is safe.
That's great, Susie. Absolutely. And if there's any questions or thoughts that you have, you can definitely reach out to our team here at the Morrison Center to answer any questions. But I think that's a great plan. Just kind of hold on and see where we are. Okay, here's our next question. So if the pandemic is still upon us in 2021, will the shows go on as scheduled? Will masks be required? It's a really good question. None of us know when this is all going to end. So what we're doing right now is making sure we're taking all of the steps that we can to be ready to reopen. And if the pandemic is still with us and we are able to open, we know that we are taking your safety into consideration. It's our top priority. And so we will have protocols in place to make sure you are safe. So masks could be required. That might be something that comes along with the protocols when we reopen. Okay, we have one other question here. If COVID numbers dramatically decrease, is there a possibility that the Broadway start date will be pushed up? Susie, I'll let you take that question.
It's another really good question, Laura, but unfortunately, it is unlikely. All of the stars would really have to align. And as I mentioned earlier, it typically takes 1.5 to 2 years to route a show. And we're already working on an accelerated timeline to bring shows back. There's so many elements involved in presenting a show, and those elements are woven into the routing across the entire country. So it would be difficult to unravel one part to start earlier in another city.
Yeah, I think that's true. It's disappointing. We wish we could all start earlier, but I think that makes a lot of sense. We'll just have to stay patient. All right, and our final question, what else can we do to accelerate the opening of the Morrison Center? I really love this question because we are all eager to get back to live performance and welcoming everyone back into our theaters. And one of the things that you can do is to ensure that you're doing all of the safety suggestions by the CDC and the city, and making sure you're doing all of those things. And then I would say, make sure you're supporting the local arts organizations, our Philharmonic, Ballet Idaho, the Opera. They are our resident companies here at the Morrison Center. And so when we reopen, we want to be able to welcome them back with us too. So their support, your support of them would be crucial at this time. All right, I think that is our questions. Susie, I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Laura. It was a real pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in person when Broadway's back.
Oh, me too. Have a great one, Susie. Thank you. I also want to thank the wonderful Morrison Center team for connecting us all today. We all want to open as soon as we can. We miss the experience of seeing a live show with you, and all the people that depend on Broadway to make a living need to get back to work. From the actors and musicians to the stagehands, volunteer ushers, our box office staff, we all want to get back to work. But we have to wait until we can present live theater in a manner that keeps the safety of our audience, cast, crew, and staff as our top priority. What we do know is we will return. And although it may take some time, we will again present these wonderful productions that we've had to postpone. So we're asking all of you to be patient as we work to confirm all these details. We know the Morrison Center is a special place for all of you. This could be where you saw your first Broadway show or your 50th. You have brought friends and loved ones here to share a special memory. And I can hardly wait to hear the overture start and the lights go down in the audience and get lost in a story again. Won't that be fantastic? Until that time, we have a very special gift for you. So we're presenting Broadway stars in a live theatrical experience beamed into your living room from New York City in a new series called Women of Broadway, live from the West Side. Our first virtual concert is October 24th with the formidable Patti LuPone. This virtual concert is only available to participating venues and the only one in Idaho, streaming live from New York City to your television, computer, or phone. This first concert with Patti LuPone is our gift to you. It will be free to all of our season ticket holders who have stuck with us. Thank you so much. We deeply appreciate each and every one of you for your kindness, the encouraging notes you have left us, and your willingness to be flexible as we get back up and running. So until we see you in person, please be well and safe. Support the local arts community, and thank you for being with us.